Welcome back, Dota 2 fans, for your second game of this best of 3 series in SLTV Star Series Season 12 qualifiers. The winner goes on to the grand finals in the qualifiers for a spot in Star Series Season 12. I am Maurice, please, your resident Canadian Dota 2 caster, joined by Mike Loris. We are HeflaTV, your English coverage, powered by eBettle, the only real money esports betting site you can trust. So we got this game 2 coming up. In game 1, absolute stomp, great movement by MeePwnd all around, and Yules really running around like a couple of chickens with their heads cut off. Looked a little bit too confused. What do they need to do aside from draft a little better in this game 2, Mike, to pick it up?
I mean, I don't even know if the draft was really a huge problem. Like, they had solid supports. They had supports with a game plan usually, like Tusk's game plan should be play rather aggressively, but they just didn't execute correctly. So they just have to really follow the trend that their heroes would typically set. So if they pick up aggressive heroes, then play aggressive. If they pick up a pushing hero like Jakiro, they actually have to push. Other than that, European Love Story, their draft was fine. It just, they couldn't get anything going, mostly because they were kind of confused the entire time. So that's not a good combination. MeePwnd didn't really have to work hard for that win. They just stayed in their lanes, pretty much played a whole bunch of 1v1 games of Dota. And when you have heroes of, or players of this caliber, you could just look over there. You could pretty much draw a win just from that, assuming the enemy team doesn't get anything going. So we are going to have a Lion Jakiro in this game, European Love Story. If they don't take a direct pushing route this game, then, man, they're just not going to win.
Yeah, it's going to be very clear that they need to at least get some towers down early when they pick up that 4th level in the Jakiro's Liquid Fire, if not before then. But either way, they are going to give the IO over to MeePwnd this time around, and they're going to pick up the Troll Warlord along with it as well. So a couple of heroes that were unable to take in the first game, they are going to pick up here, and we'll see how they are able to utilize that. I kind of expect this to be a core Jakiro coming out from Yules here. But we will see if they end up putting it in the support role with that Lion. Already, Lion very nice up against the IO with the burst damage available to him if he can get some early levels going. And of course, all the utility he offers has made him a really, really favored pick recently in the meta.
Yeah, Jakiro is also reasonable against that IO. It's not necessarily as powerful as someone like a Disruptor, but just having a nice point-click area of effect skill in the both the Ice Path as well as the Macro Pyre, when you see the little IO light thing shining through, man, it's really hard to miss that, and you're probably going to be hitting people at least when that happens. So kind of an artificial Yule Scepter setup for the Jakiro there, and I would like to see the core Jakiro as well. It'll let them get a little bit more direction in their gameplay, because when you have a support Jakiro, you're like, okay, we can push, but do we want to wait for our cores? No, when you have a core Jakiro, you push, and that's your plan. That's all your plan is. So it's a very direct route, and we'll see how deep they want to go into this pushing route. If they want to only kind of half go in there, I don't really think that's how they're going to win this game. They have to go very deep into one specific strategy.
Yeah, they will pick up some more DOT damage, so a little bit of kite ability towards this melee core in the Troll Warlord. Effectively melee core anyways. Of course, he can pop into that range form, but either way, I don't mind the Viper pickup here. He is innately tanky up against what they have to offer thus far from MeePwnd, so not the most ideal relocate target. We are going to see Yules ban out Weeha's Meepo here, so certainly something that is warranted. Not sure if they would have picked it up with this opening, but of course that Battle Trance does a lot of work up against or up with comboing with a Meepo, so certainly something to be a little bit worried about from European Love Story. They do have the burst though to bring down a Meepo if we has a little bit of miss micro, but generally that is not the case, so they will ban that out. And they do pick up Viper, who's actually a little bit of an underrated pusher with that Nether Toxin doing work as well after Jakiro is able to chip down some of these towers.
Not only the damage output that Viper has, but it's also the fact that he's inherently tanky. So if you get into a push, if you get into a fight while you're trying to push, Viper's really the one that you want on your side, especially if you have a fast mech. If your Viper's going to be going for that build, then you're pretty much golden. And then at a certain point, after you take down a couple of towers, then Viper will have his Aghanims. Then slow sieging gets a lot better once you have that spammable Viper strike. So it's not exactly like a direct pusher like Jakiro is, like, you know, an enchantress. They're like very direct in their pushing.
Right.
Viper is kind of like that supplementary hero when you are going to be pushing. So it's a reasonable pick for European Love Story. Necrophos is not really that pusher. A little bit of sustain, certainly going to be nice. Not having to worry about an Ancient Apparition on the other end. It's a useful hero to have. But I'm once again concerned that European Love Story are going to be not on one dedicated direction. MeePwnd, they don't exactly have to be in one dedicated direction because they have, well, already two very strong laners, plus the ability to reinforce with that IO. It might be an IO Troll Warlord, might be an IO Magnus. Honestly, it doesn't really matter too much in this game.
Yeah, they aren't going to scale very late for Yules if their Tricore is Jakiro, Viper, Necrophos. So definitely look for MeePwnd to try and dodge some engagements early on if that's the case. But they will have to sacrifice a few of their towers if they opt to do so. So look for them really to only fight off the back of this RP cooldown for MeePwnd. And we will see probably just a ball up from Yules with what they have thus far. There could be a little bit of roaming potential early on once we see this last support pickup. But if it's a Jakiro Lion support duo, I really don't think that their propensity to roam is that high. So will be interesting to see what they pick up here from Yules, and MeePwnd's ban will be indicative of what they expect.
Yeah, Crystal Maiden is going to be a nice hero if MeePwnd decide to keep the same game plan as the last game, where they don't really move around that much, where they kind of just stick in their lanes and then just, you know, slow push all three lanes at the same time. That's where Crystal Maiden really excels. You don't really want to get into a running gun fight with her. You want to be able to burst someone down and then call it quits thereafter. So not only is that going to be nice for her, but, you know, the Arcane Aura is also very nice for the Troll and Magnus. Being able to spam out the axes and the shockwaves may make the difference in lane. So it's a reasonable pick for MeePwnd. It's very consistent with what they did in the last game, and Medusa is going to be the ban in this one. I don't really know if that was something to be scared of. I mean, it's fine with the Empower, and it's pretty dangerous with the Troll Warlord ultimate, but so is every other hero in the game.
Yeah, I mean, Stonegaze is nice into a Deathball lineup 20 minutes in, but I'm not sure that that's exactly what MeePwnd were looking for at this point. They're probably looking for a Wii hero unless he picks up the Troll in the mid lane, which is certainly possible here, but either way, we will see MeePwnd round out this lineup perhaps with another core, and we'll see what Yules is going to pick up. They will ban out the Earthshaker, so they're expecting a core Jakiro as well from this Deathball lineup from European Love Story. Who do you feel will build the mech for Yules here? Will it be the Viper or will it be the Necrophos?
I'm pretty sure it's a little bit better to get it on the Necrophos. Just having like all your heals in one place is, first of all, kind of nice just to have. And Viper's ability to get into an Aghanim Scepter, and that enables you to push a lot more effectively. It might be a little bit stronger than whatever Necrophos can put out. Man, English is hard today. But yeah, it really doesn't matter too much. I think it might just come down to whoever has an easier time in lane. Whoever gets more gold is going to be buying it. Undying is the last pick for European Love Story. So it is going to be a rather aggressive game from them. And well, Undying's a great hero to have when you're trying to punish the likes of IO Magnus, two strength heroes, and also beating down Crystal Maiden, who can't really do anything once the Tombstone gets up. This is actually going to be a fairly dangerous pick.
Yeah, I feel like they listened because you implored Yules to kind of go towards one direction with their draft, and they've really gone all in with the team fight and the death ball on this one. The Tombstone is going to be able to secure them some tier 1 towers at the very least early on, but Sven, a pretty good Wisp combo hero coming out from MeePwnd, and also a hero that can fight relatively early. Stormbolt synergizes very well with the RP, so I don't mind the pick in the Sven here. Of course, BKB is really a core item on Sven, and it's not the strongest versus what Yules have to offer. Of course, they have the Reaper Scythe, the Viper Strike, and the Liquid Fire all to pierce through that BKB. So I do worry a little bit for Sven if they are able to make it a little bit further into this game from the side of Yules.
It's not going to be the cleanest game for this Sven. He does have a lot of things to worry about, but he also has a lot of synergy within his own team. Battle Trance gives Sven what he's lacking the most, which is attack speed, and then Empower is Empower on a hero that already has Cleave. So, you know, the one-hit crit, 5-kill dream maybe is going to be real this game. That is if this game does last that long, but Sven, if he has a decent time in lane, which is a possibility, given that they might run dual lanes, then he will be able to get a little bit of farm, and who knows, maybe he'll get a little bit of traction in this game. But I definitely got to favor Yules for the first 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes of this game. It's hard to say that a team with Undying is not going to be doing well, and they really need to be doing well because last game was not an impressive performance by them.
Yeah, certainly so. We'll introduce the teams over on the Radiant side. We've got European Love Story, or OREALY. Sohn picking up that core Jakiro, presumably going towards the offlane, accompanied by Teddy, the support player on the Undying. We've got McGraw posturing up over this top rune for the mid lane. Viper Sia is up behind him on the Lion. And finally, that leaves Eunice in the safe lane on the Necrophos.
And for MeePwnd, it's going to be Mirage or Exist on the Troll Warlord. Hani's going to be playing the Crystal Maiden, joined by Pylite Dies Io. Over towards mid, Wee's going to be maybe soloing as Sven, maybe will be a dual lane, but he'll be over in mid. And Simba is going to be playing the Mag. I would expect these two supports to just be juggling back and forth between mid, depending on what really they need. Pylite Die, though, as the IO, has gone for no items, so it's a Bottle Rush, which does indicate dual lane mid with Sven. Not really the most dangerous lanes, but it's fine to survive anything that Yules can throw at them.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, the Magnus in the offlane is a little bit underwhelming, but with their configuration, I don't feel like they had much else of a choice here. And I would have liked to see an earlier RP up against a lineup that really wants to ball up for the side of Yules. But either way, I feel like it's still the right decision from them. As you mentioned, we'll see if Pylite goes toward that mid lane for the duel with the Sven, and I really do expect that to be the case. Stormbolt's not the longest cooldown early on, and a little bit of extra mana can do a lot of work for Sven.
Yeah, just being able to spam out those bolts might be enough to win them the lane, or at least, you know, get a little bit more of an even lane. They will have the Arcane Aura as well, so lots of mana for everyone on MeePwnd. But so far, these support heroes, they are going up towards the top lane. That is the last place where I would expect them to land. I mean, it's fine to have a Troll Warlord defensive tri-lane, but when you're running a Sven mid up against a Viper, you would expect him to require some sort of help. So Wee's not going to have a good time here. Yeah. Even though he is rushing a bottle himself, he is a very tanky hero inherently. Viper is Viper, and this is not going to be a fun lane for the Sven.
Yeah, and Undying does very well in 2 versus 3 lanes, especially when one of those members is a IO. But either way, Hani is going to look to jungle a little bit early on the Crystal Maiden, so I won't give too much over to this Jakiro Undying combo. Just going to keep Mirage or Exist in that range for him, and hopefully he'll be able to find his farm against a very potent early game combo.
Yeah, this game already is looking a lot better for Yules just because they have a lot more control of these lanes. Simba is getting experience still, but he eventually will have to worry about death once Necrophos gets out from level 1, because Heartstopper Aura is very annoying, but it's not really going to be getting any kills anytime soon. And once Sia gets level 2, level 3, then Lion is going to be a more potent threat as well. And it's not even going to be something that you could skewer out of if you're Simba. If you start the skewer, you get hexed, then you're pretty much completely screwed. So that lane is going to go pretty well. Bottom lane is going to be decent, or top lane rather for Yules is going to be decent as well. And then of course mid with the Viper versus Sven should also be very Viper favored. So all the lanes doing a lot better for Yules. Not only are they just going to get a CS advantage if they progress like this, but they also have a lot of kill potential in all 3 of their lanes.
Yep, Tether goes out top lane. Liquid Fire actually going to drop on both Pylite and Mirage. A little bit of value from Sohn there, but no one going to aggress forward quite yet. Bottle does come out for Pylite as well, and Weeha's picked up his. He will get the top rune in the river here at the 2-minute mark, but McGraw farming very well. 7 and 5 to the 5 and 1 of Weeha's Sven.
So Sven, he's fine as a hero that is a little bit poor, and that's why we see support Sven pop up from time to time. But if you're going to be putting any hero in the solo mid position, you kind of need to have a better matchup than this. And Sven is not really a hero that I would feel comfortable putting into the mid solo role, unless I know that there's someone like a DK on the other end, in which case Sven will be doing very well. But against a Viper, that's not going to be happening. So Sven is not going to have any huge explosiveness in this game. Maybe they're going to stack up a little bit for him, but no, that doesn't seem to be the case either. So far, not a single stack being made by the MeePwnd side.
Yeah, bottom lane, Earth Spike as well as the Death Pulse going to be soaked up by Simba, and he has no regen left, so we'll need to pick up that bottle fairly soon. 629 gold sitting on him, so not too far. Top lane, a couple of decay stacks dropping Mirage pretty low. He's going to jump in with the Whirling Axis. Tombstone is going to be dropped, but the Tether move speed will allow him to just run right away from that, and already big cooldown wasted here, 60 seconds for Teddy with that Tombstone. We'll give a little bit of space to Mirage to start farming.
Early level tombstones you could pretty cleanly disengage from, especially if the ice path is not even leveled up yet. So tombstone in and of itself is not going to be doing that much without a little bit of health. So a clean disengage there for the top lane MeePwnd, but that's pretty much the name of the game up in the top lane. They're going to be at the mercy of this Undying, and well, fortunately for MeePwnd, the Jakiro actually isn't last hitting very well. So the extra farm Jakiro not really going to be coming up anytime soon, and that will allow them to make plays like this, jumping forward for Solon, a couple more right clicks. They need a bash if they're going to get this kill. They don't really have it anymore since they're range for him. Teddy going to walk into that tether, take a lot of damage himself. But yeah, if the Jakiro is not going to get last hits, then you have to be getting kills in this top lane. And so far, no kills for either side again.
Yeah, I mean, Exist will be able to spam out his toolkit quite often. Only costs him 100 mana for both the range and melee form and those axes. So with the Pylai Die available behind him, should be able to back off this wanting to be very aggressive combo from Yules more often than not. It looks like the supports may rotate behind Wee in this mid lane. Being that McGraw is almost going to pick up his level 6, Sven needs to be a little bit careful unless someone is postured up defensively behind him. So look for some aggression from McGraw if they have vision of these supports once he picks up 6. Stormbolt going to go out mid, and it's just going to be a harassing one from Weeha.
We have a Crystal Maiden who's been jungling the entire time, and it's nice to have a hero who's just in the jungle, especially if it's not being punished at all by enemy rotations. But what is Crystal Maiden actually aiming towards by doing this? Yes, she's getting a little bit of leveling, which is nice, but going for a 2-point in Arcane Aura build means that even though she may eventually want to leave the jungle and make something happen, what could she actually do with only 2 offensive skill points? I don't really know if she could be doing that much.
Yeah, bot lane, the Necrophos is pretty low, but Simba going to look to contest this pull for the moment. And with the Death Pulse coming in, he's been hexed up. Earthspark is here as well. He'll be able to skewer away, though, and should be just fine. I mean, the Arcane Aura is nice to allow him to spam out some shockwaves for last hit. It's been able to secure him 12, but with an IO, you definitely want to be a little more aggressive. Mid lane, they are going to go out onto McGraw. Stormbolt is there, Tether slow, Frostbite, and finally the rotations do come in from MeePwnd supports, and that'll garner Weeha a very much needed kill in this mid lane.
Man, you never expect the roaming Crystal Maiden and IO combo, but when you open up with the Stormhammer, it's pretty much the best tool that you could ask for as far as starting a fight. Just point, click, stun. That's it. Game over. And when you have the Wisp Balls coming in, plus the Frostbite, plus the Nova, even someone as big as Viper is not really going to be able to withstand that successfully. So it's a clean kill for MeePwnd, and it's a kill that Sven is going to grab. Now he's going to find OKC. Grabs the rune. Now pops double damage. He has to worry about Hex and Spike. So he's not going to really get this kill unless OKC actually tries to teleport out. That's a chance now for him to get the kill. Not quite enough attack speed. That was very, very close, though.
Yeah, definitely worth popping the ultimate to try and find that solo kill. Nice TP out from OKC, but with that early level in Hex, could have been certainly a kill. But Teddy is going to run into a couple of supports here from the side of MeePwnd. Don't know if they quite have. Hani going to run into him now with Vision. He's got the Frostbite available. The range axes will hit. The Nova is there as well. Tombstone not going to be doing much here for Teddy. He gets off 1 decay stack, but the rotating in Wee is going to drop him with that Stormbolt, and they'll get a free 100 gold going the way of Sven as well. So very nice little set of engagements for MeePwnd here. They'll take a 2-0 lead after what looked to be on paper a very good laning stage for Yules.
Yeah, it's still not going too terribly for them. If you look at the CS, Viper's on top, Necrophos not too far behind. So still Yules, they're getting a lot of gold. The problem is that they need gold on this Jakiro as well, and right now he's being aggressed upon. Teddy will arrive in time to provide a little bit of backup, but as far as their ability to turn things around and kill off Pylai Die, it's going to still be very difficult. Even though the IO has an empty bottle, still has 8 stick charges. In the meantime, we got Wee and Hani moving down towards the bottom lane. The hero that's been having probably the easiest time in this game, the Necrophos, is going to have a little bit more of a rough time, as they also have the mag closing in with an RP. But I'm pretty sure Eunice right now is just dead, even if they don't use the RP. Stormhammer goes out, layered a little bit with the Nova, but a couple of right clicks plus a skewer, and Necrophos is going to be very easily killed off.
Yeah, and that'll back off OKC. A top lane Battle Trance does go out with the tether move speed there. They're going to bring Teddy very low. He'll soul rip to keep himself up. Couple more range attacks won't be quite enough to bring Teddy down, and OKC is going to rotate in. Phase Boots picked up now by Mirage. Probably would have been a little bit more helpful if you picked that up about 10 seconds ago, but they will cue the aggression towards this bot lane tower, and with the Lion TPing top, they should be able to bring this down unabated.
Yep, Yules just don't have any more heroes to send down to that bottom lane, and I mean, I guess they kind of do, but they don't really want to spend 3 or 4 TPs to try to defend tier 1 tower when there's a Magnus pushing it. So you're just setting up for an RP. It's going to be a very clean tower destruction for MeePwnd, and up towards top so on, in a little bit of trouble once again. Mirage with both sets of axes. Now the right click plus battle trance once again will fall short. TP will be cancelled though, so even though you don't get the kill, you pull out 100 gold from the enemy side without investing pretty much anything. That was a pretty smooth move, and it worked out very well for MeePwnd. Of course, 100 gold isn't really going to mean life and death, but still, he invested nothing for it, and you might as well get what you can get. So, 1 tower down so far for MeePwnd, and this is actually looking very similar to the last game, where their heroes are maybe rotating a little bit more than last, but for the most part, they're just getting a slow and steady advantage all over the place. Mag on bottom lane, this time is in a little bit of trouble because there's Reaper Scythe. Spike Hex has already been used. RP going to be cancelled by that site. Simba's going to survive though. Now we'll get 1 kill, skewering out as Hani channels the ultimate. The Brawl's going to arrive, but he doesn't really want to be here. PyLite is going to hit with the Viper Strike, but he has a free jump back. In just a couple seconds, he will get himself back to safety up on the top lane. No punishment waiting for him there. Hani and Simba will also cleanly disengage. 5-0 for MeePwnd, and Ewell's struggling to get anything going on in this game. And top lane, they're going to pull the trigger onto a jump onto the Jakiro. A couple more right clicks after the melee whirling axes will get 1 kill. Okay, Sia is going to arrive, but this is actually not a good place for Lion to be either. He will not die here because he has a whole lot of CC, but he certainly can't get anything done here either.
Yeah, definitely so, and his rotation is going to be wasted for the time being as he can't even find any farm in that lane as well. Speaking of farm, Hani's picked up level 6 and almost 7 now on this Crystal Maiden, so his rotations have certainly paid off after leaving the jungle. The RP still not used, as you saw it stopped up by that Reaper Scythe in the bottom lane, and they still have that team fight ability available to them, and we will now see Simba pick up a full bottle here, so they can look to cue the aggression continuously here from Ewell's. McGraw farming very well on the Viper, but doesn't even have a full mech at this point, and certainly they will ball up towards this mid lane tower. Weehaw going to throw out the Stormbolt. He's going to pop God's Strength as well, and 2 easy right clicks to balls from PyLite going to finish him off. Teddy going to look to fight this up, but Weehaw's got the ultimate popped in with the DD rune, chopping Teddy down very low, but not quite enough. He does have a Stormbolt available though if the Undying does rotate in. Will look to bottle up in the tree line. He's going to get tethered back by PyLite as well, and they'll be able to bring down this Tombstone. A nice 100 gold going, 125 gold going the way of Weehaw, as that is skill level 2. But either way, things looking very good at this point in the game for MeePwnd. Top lane Sohn is going to be aggressed upon by Mirage. He's going to catch the Macro Pyre though, and we'll have to back off out of that. Dropping pretty low, has got quite a few stick charges though. Relocate comes in top lane, and PyLite is going to be here with Wee. They are going to look to find Sohn, and the Spirits will give them vision for that Stormbolt. Hani going to rotate in as well, and with the Battle Trance ready in 8 seconds, they can look to translate this into a push, but they will relocate, I should say, back to the mid lane.
And if you're still at 0 kills 10 minutes into the game, you're feeling pretty bad. And they have Scythe, they have Viper Strike, they have eventually Finger of Death. They have all the tools that they could possibly want in order to get kills, but in Undying, that isn't actually doing anything when it's this late into the game. Yes, I'm saying late for 11 minutes into the game, and you're going to be struggling. The Undying really has to step up a little bit with the help of his teammates. Maybe they're going to get a kill on Wee. This looks like, yes, it is going to be some blood. Wee, though, fairly tanky, has some backup coming in. Deny, not going to happen. Undying is going to leave. Okay, maybe that's why he was there, but yeah, kind of maybe unfortunate for Weehaw. Anyway, Ewell's get on the board, which is, I guess, nice for them.
Yeah, I just DC'd mid that engagement, unfortunately, so we're going to have to give a little bit of radio Dota.
All right, so seemingly not just Wee's problem. It seems like it's a little bit of everyone's problem. But either way, it's a kill for the Ewell side, and okay, well, we pause now, so not really going to be mattering too much. Got an Invis rune on the Magnus, who's looking down towards the bottom lane. Relocate status, not up for another 17. But Simba with level 2 Skewer has a chance of actually killing off Eunice if he surprises him with an Invis rune. There is an Observer Ward here, though, so this shouldn't really be too much of a surprise. But either way, it's still going to be a kill for Ewell's, and a much-needed kill at that. At the very least, just to give them a little bit more momentum in this game. Get Lion a little bit closer to that level 6. So a Finger of Death could result into another kill, and then a Scythe into another, and all of a sudden you might be pulling ahead, but still the Ewell side have got to worry about a very, very big Sven with a Blink Dagger. And they have to worry about a Troll Warlord who's probably going to be going for something along the lines of Sanjin Yasha, maybe Drums as his next item. So MeePwnd, they're doing very well for themselves right now, but they're also going to get a lot stronger, a lot faster than Ewell's in the upcoming minutes. Okay, it seems like everyone and their mom is reconnecting into this game. So Valve, please don't mess up now.
Yeah, I mean, Yule's finally finding something that's a little bit worthwhile in that mid lane on the kill in Weehaw. But as you mentioned, it's 12 minutes in, and they don't have a level 6 Lion yet. And they've really drafted a lineup that around this 12 to 16 minute mark should be almost at its peak. So I do certainly worry for their ability to come back in this one. If you take a look at the metrics, they do find a little bit of spike off of that Weehaw kill back in their direction, but still in excess of 5k lead in the way of net worth and about the same in the way of experience. And some core items now going to start to come out as well for the lineup of MeePwnd. The Blink comes out for Weehaw just before he dies there. Vlad's on the Troll Warlord. They will have the mech eventually onto the Pilot Eye Wisp, and the Blink is not too far off for this Magnus. 1300 gold for him, so another 900. A nice big team fight should find him a very much needed Blink.
And the Sven has been doing work already in this game, but we haven't even seen like the real Sven synergy just yet. Like the battle trance and the empower. First of all, empower is only level 1, so it won't really be doing that much. But yeah. Sven going for a pretty standard Sven build in that Blink Dagger, very Wraith King-esque, but his ability to transition into the late game a lot more directly scary than that of Wraith King, especially with so much synergy right behind him. Not to mention the overcharge. I also forgot about that. So what more can you be scared of? Maybe if Crystal Maiden was an Ogre Magi, get Bloodlust. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, definitely so. And I mean, with all these abilities to buff him up, he really doesn't need to build into anything like a Mask of Madness. Can go directly into damage for the Sven. And certainly very scary for Yules to even look at the late game at all. But considering all that is behind the Sven and the Troll and the IO, as well as the Empower there from the Magnus, should be very scary. We'll see if they're able to find a couple of good engagements here. I feel like Eunice was left totally unchecked until that one gank bottom, and yet he still hasn't found much on this Necrophos, and I do worry for his ability to really be relevant at all. He's only picked up a Vit booster in addition to his phase boots and Bassi.
Well, it is only 12 minutes into the game. It just feels like they need someone to be picking up a lot more as far as the gold is concerned. Because up towards top, they're going to commence a gank onto the Shakira, relocate in, and Pilot Die should have a free escape out of there. They're going to set up on the bottom lane in the meantime, though. Simba is going to get hexed first of all. They have a scythe, and they will be able to get this kill. Simba, with 69 seconds on the cooldown timer, is going to be off of this game. So, they kill off the Magnus fairly easily. That's going to give Lion that level 6. It's a very nice gank for the Yule side, and it's going to delay the Blink Dagger by just that much more. Yeah,
that's probably the biggest point there, is it will delay the Blink Dagger by a bunch. He's got 1400 gold, but with that extra res timer, he's not going to be back on the map finding farm for quite a while. Meanwhile, Glyph going to be popped top lane, as with the extra armor, Weehaw going to tank up that tower. But either way, they'll be able to bring this down easily, and an early Glyph pop from them should be able to allow them to mount a defense bottom if they're willing to do so. Pilot is farming a bit mid. He's got McGraw and Sohn in his sights, but it looks like MeePwnd are just going to be content to continue to push top lane, and Glyph is available for the Radiant, will be popped right over top of the battle trance, so certainly nice from them, but this will force back at least Teddy from the side of Yules.
Problem there for Yules is that their pusher, the only hero who actually is able to take down these towers, Jakiro, was in the lane where they couldn't really push because there was a hero there. Of course, that hero was just an IO, but having level 4 spirits, slowly grinding down the creep wave, it is enough to keep the enemy heroes off the tower. If the Jakiro was down towards bottom lane, this tower would be dead. So Yules, with a little bit of unfortunate circumstances there. They're going to be collapsing onto Teddy. They know exactly where he is. Blink forward for a stun, plus another double damage rune on the Sven, because that seems fair. 210 now for MeePwnd. And I think they're just going to continue with this push up on top lane. They have Vlads, they have still a little bit more double damage rune. Might as well keep on going. And at the same time, Pilot Die and Simba, they're on the bottom lane. They're ready to relocate in case Yules want to mount a defense. But I don't even know if they're going to be doing that.
Yeah, and stopping that push from the side of Yules gave a big wave over to Simba. He's now sitting at 2100 gold. Macropyre going to be thrown out in the off lane for Yules, but their tier 2 is going to fall here completely uncontested. And Weehaw is not going to be able, Mirage or Exist will pick up the last hit there. He will pick up the Mask of Madness on the Sven regardless, so the IO will be able to buff up perhaps that Troll, if not continuously buffing up the Sven as well. But with his God Strength popped and that Empower up, he's going to be cleaving like a madman with this Mask of Madness. No pun intended. So Mirage not going to pick up much quite yet on the Troll Warlord. Expect something to be coming out pretty soon for him. And he does have his Sange over on the Courier. Do you expect that to just be an SNY, or is this a Halberd at some point? Not really very good up against what Yules have to offer, but it could at least stop the Viper from right-clicking.
Yeah, and Viper's right clicks, they aren't really that threatening. Like, he's gone for a very kind of utility build with that mech, so going for the Sange Yasha seems to be very straightforward as far as his item progression. Yules, they're going to try to make a push happen in the mid lane. This is something I would expect from this type of draft, but I don't really know if they could comfortably do this, given how far behind they are. There's a blink into an RP available for the mag. However, the tower will be destroyed. No contest there for MeePwnd. They're just going to be fine with letting that go. And I think that's reasonable enough. It's a tier 1 tower. No one really cares too much about that. And also, they have the Empower plus level 3 Cleave with a giant Ancient stack on the side. They really just want to get that killed more than anything else, just to grow their own heroes more so than Yules are going to grow.
Yeah, that's 5 stacks
so
for
this
Weehaw.
Stack is just going to get destroyed. 377 gold on Sven before he actually started, and that is going to end at 1650. Nice.
Yeah, Weehaw going to be looking very good. They're going to blink right into the Roche Pit with the Battle Trance, and they should be able to melt this pretty quickly despite not having much minus armor to their name. It looks like Simba is going to be fine to find some farm in the mid lane, and he will be able to jump up onto the high ground here with his RP blink available to defend this Roche. And it doesn't look like Yules are even really aware that it's occurring right now. They do see a lot of heroes missing on the map, but regardless, this will be an Aegis over to the side of MeePwnd, and they can even mount a defense on this tier 1 in the bot with the glyph available.
Ani still has an Invis rune. Hammer going to be thrown the way of the Necrophos. Rather tanky at the moment with that Rod of Atos, though this is a really bad angle to come from. If you're Meepo, you don't really want to be walking up high ground when the enemies are all on the high ground. There's also an Observer Ward here for the Yules side, so they know exactly what's going on until they smoke up. There will be a little bit more in the dark about this, but they will see Simba by the time they need to. Simba is going to blink forward for an RP, going to catch 2. Skewer going to be cancelled, though, with that spike, but a freezing field from Hani, plus the God Strength, popped by Wee. Going to grind through 1 instantly. McGraw not too healthy either. He's going to take a very fast fall. Tombstone will also be destroyed. 2 kills, 3 kills now for MeePwnd as they also take out the Jakiro. Short jump forward with that Sven, and they're going to catch Teddy. They're also looking for OKC at the exact same time. They're going to kill off the Undying, and they're also going to catch Sia in the corner. That's going to be a full 5-man wipe with only Simba losing his life. And MeePwnd, I mean, everyone else is at very, very high amounts of HP. They still have the Aegis as well.
Yeah, they still have this Aegis, so don't see any reason why they don't continue this push, and there's no glyph available for the Radiant side quite yet. The res timers are pretty small at this point, though, so they will back up. Look to find this tier 1 in the mid, and with the Battle Trance, no backdoor regeneration, of course, this should be a very easy pickup for Exist, so really the gap starting to widen quite considerably. 18 minutes into the game, 10k net worth lead generated by MeePwnd, and over 12k in the way of experience.
3 to 15 right now, and MeePwnd, they're looking pretty darn good. They still have that Aegis, so even though they just took a really great fight, they should be looking for just a little bit more as far as objectives are concerned. Paladai also going to find a regen rune. That's the rune that you want to have on your IO, especially when you have the likes of Troll Warlord and Sven on your side. So what's going to be the next objective for MeePwnd? I don't know, but honestly, bottom lane tower, mid lane tower, hell, even top lane tower, why not just go for the high ground?
Yeah, and Rod of Aoi picked up here from Eunice. It really isn't going to be the item to turn the game at all. It's very nice when you're ahead and you're looking to chase down targets, but it's probably mostly going to be used in a defensive manner in this one. So I really don't feel like that as much as something like an Aghanims or even a Mechanism is going to be what turns the game. Of course, the mech is now up onto McGraw, but I'm not sure that we even saw it used in that last engagement. They got melted pretty quick under that RP Stormbolt.
Right now there's a BKB on Sven, so he has a very standard Sven build, except just with a lot of steroids behind it. Still with that Aegis, and he's going to be very happy moving forward. There's also a Blink Dagger on Hani, and he has a point booster as well. 407. CM has been, well, first of all, not dying. And that's always very impressive whenever you're Crystal Maiden, you manage to not die. But an Aghanim Scepter, Freezing Field, that actually hurts a lot, especially if Yules can't get some crowd control on that CM. They're going to relocate down to the bottom lane. They have Teddy in their sights. A couple more right clicks with the Skewer. Teddy going to survive for a lot longer than I thought. He has support incoming, but they can't really kill off his Sven because he does still have that Aegis. Simba has an RP, just looking for an angle, and he's not going to get that, but the relocate out is going to keep the Sven safe. Suddenly Simba's stuck in a corner. He doesn't have Skewer either. he's just dead because all his backup disappeared. It's probably not worth it for MeePwnd, but in the meantime, Mirage, he's over in the mid lane, killing off the Yule's base, so I guess it's all going decently for MeePwnd, even though the Magnus is once again going to take a death. That's the third death on him.
Yeah, a little bit of miscommunication from Pylai and Weehaw there. Weehaw actually popped his 10-second BKB charge right before getting relocated out. So unfortunately they waste that, but still, as you mentioned, not the biggest loss. They'll trade a tier 2 in the mid lane for their Magnus. And so they did get that early kill on the Undying as well. So certainly slight favor to MeePwnd, but when you are as behind as you are for Yules, you'll take that trade.
You take any trade that you can possibly get, because when you're behind, you want to be making trades, especially if you're going to be killing off heroes that are pretty important. If it was a CM to die,
yeah,
it's probably not going to be the best trade in the world, but Mag is certainly worthwhile. Actually, well, CM is probably worthwhile as well, given how farmed she is in this particular game, but in general, CMs are not worth it. But this game is the exception. They're going to go down towards the bottom lane tier 1. They still have the Aegis for just a little bit more time. I think it will be enough time to kill off this tower, as Troll Warlords typically tend to be Wrecking Balls, and Svens do the exact same thing. So tower should be destroyed. Will they actually start a fight now? We has God Strength, has everything you want. Mirage, though, going to take the first hit. There's a jump forward. We going to pop his God Strength. Now going to go straight for the Jakiro. Won't kill him off because of that Soul Rip, but he will cleave through to kill off the Lion. Now going straight for Teddy McGraw. In the meantime, trying to kill off Pylai Die, but he will fall short. Mirage is right on top of him with those bashes. We just going nuts in the background, though. Will kill off 2 already. Now looking for a third. Will get scythed down. Will lose his Aegis. That's exactly what it's for. In the meantime, Mirage will kill off the tower. Sven's going to pop right back up. And just like that, they're going to continue the push. They're also going to have Simba, who is back from the dead, to reinforce with that RP. So Yules, they have buybacks on Lion.
Yeah, that's
about it right now. So yeah, they are going to scramble for defense or just not and just tap out.
Yeah, 2 sub 25-minute games going to be taken here. Jump forward RP from Simba. They'll finish off Eunice just as a celebratory measure, and that's a 2-0 for them. They will go on to the finals to face the winner of Solo's new team in XX5 versus Weehaw's old team in BBC. So should be a very interesting one. Not sure, I believe that match is going on right now over on HeflaTV too, so you guys can certainly check that out. That probably still is going on, of course, as this one was very quick. But either way, very well played by MeePwnd in both games. Unfortunately, we don't get to see Aghanim, Scepter, Sven. Kind of would have wanted to see that with the Troll. Mike, any last thoughts on the series?
There's a chance that MeePwnd with this victory have just made it. They've already qualified.
Okay.
There's not that much communication. The bracket is really messed up. There's a slight chance for that, but yeah, not exactly sure what's going on. Regardless, MeePwnd just destroying Yules. I don't know if there's another way to put it. This is a disgusting game.
Yeah, so unfortunately their Cinderella story will end here. But either way, MeePwnd living up a little bit more to the hype than they have in the past, looking very sharp in these last couple of games. Guys, be sure to check out HTV2. I'll be hosting over very quickly. But either way, we are HeflaTV, your English coverage. This is More Rage Please, and Mike Loris signing out.